I wanted to do a review. I have the Traeger Ranger right here, tabletop pellet grill. And then I have the Freedom Stoves portable pellet grill right here. And I've run both of these a good handful of times and just kind of wanted to give a quick review on both of them. Size-wise, depth and overall length are very close. As you can see, that Freedom is quite a bit taller than the Traeger Ranger, as it has this kind of peaked lid that's on there, just allowing, I guess, to do like beer can chickens, things along that line of things. Inside of the Traeger right here. So dimensions are very similar between these grills. Let's take a quick look at the hopper. I think hopper sizes are pretty similar too. The sticker keeps unpeeling on there, but anyway, I think that holds right around 8 pounds or so of pellet fuel, so pretty decent size hopper. Pretty much same. Freedom right here has just like a little latch that keeps that shut, but I think it's a little bit bigger than the Traeger, maybe by a half pound or a pound, something like that, but a good size hopper there as well. Now, I'm just gonna kind of circle onto the back. The Traeger here has like an attached cord and just kind of a little on-off power switch right here to plug in. So AC power only. As we look at the Freedom right here, this has a 12 volt plug that comes down to like a converter box right here. So right now I have it just plugged into the 110 power, but it does. So it's got this tray down below, like a little accessory tray where we can put the cords and like these meat probes and stuff. So this particular cord goes directly 12 volt. I'd say it's probably like 25 feet, something like that. So if I'm, if I'm really looking to be portable and I'm going out in the middle of nowhere, I could bring one of those small battery packs and plug that thing right in. So I like the fact that it's AC and DC. Whereas the Ranger here is just going to be AC power with, like I said, about a 6-foot cord. I'm gonna go right around the back one more time. I'm gonna close this lid. So this is the grease strip, and we'll go inside the grill a little bit, and I'll show you the components in there. But this guy just kind of hangs right off the back of that drip baffle right there. And then on the Freedom right here, we have like a side grease baffle, so kind of like an angle right down there, and that's where our grease collects. So just like break down the inside just a little bit. So I would say cooking surface wise, Freedom has a bit more than the Traeger right here. Popped about 9 burgers on here, so a handful of hot dogs. You can get a couple buns up on that warming rack, which is nice. Also like rotate the hot dogs up there, which is good. This space is a little more limited. As far as the grates, appear to be like steel grates with a porcelain kind of a coating on there. Really the exact same on the Freedom, about the same thickness, width, very, very similar on the grates. Good grill brush, keeps them nice and clean. So let's just take out these grates real quick. And with this one, to remove this baffle, I just have to release the grease bucket. So I'm just gonna take that bucket off for right now. And so this guy just kind of comes out like so. So overall, pretty beefy grease strip right here. I'm just gonna set that down. So inside, this is kind of what she looks like. So 2 things I'm gonna point out. This burn pot is secured in there. So you don't have the ability to just pull that out and dump out the ashes and things after a few cooks. I need to just go in there with a vacuum cleaner to suck up that ash. The other thing that I'll point out is the probe right here. Some call it like a PID probe or controller. Others refer to it as like a thermal sensor. It works with the control board, so it's kind of sensing temperature inside the grill, and the goal is to be able to maintain kind of that set temperature that you have there. As we look over at the Freedom right here, just pull out the racks, pretty much pull out the exact same way. And this is our grease baffle on the Freedom. So this has kind of a two-piece design right here. So open, I can run this thing really on any temperature and get some open flame that kind of kisses the food. Or if I go up over 500, there's a sear mode, and on sear mode it cranks it up. And so if I'm really looking to get that nice sear on steaks, things like that, kind of a nice feature here with the two-piece deflector there. So just gonna pull that out. It sits at a little bit of an angle, so the grease kind of flows down to that pan down there. And so on the inside, this is kind of what this guy looks like. This is our burn pot. So steel burn pot here. This one's removable, which I like. It's just easy to dump this out in a little bucket or in the trash can, whatever. There's our igniter. So our igniter is right there in the base. Comes up right there in the burn pot. As far as the temperature control on this thing, it's one of the biggest differences I've noticed in my cookings between the Traeger and between the Freedom. Hard to see here, but that is the PID probe, or that thermal sensor, and it's more towards the back, and it is also kind of blocked here by a steel shield. And whereas again, as we go back over to the Ranger here, it's exposed and it's wide open right there, directly in the center. Just real quick in the burn pot right here, the igniter's a little bit off to the side. So where I've noticed this Freedom lighting in like 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, I have ignition. Traeger right here, it can vary a little bit, but it seems like, generally speaking, it's like maybe 4 to 6 minutes or so. It can take a little bit longer. The igniter's not sticking out quite as much, and again, it's a little bit over the side, so more pellet fuel has to kind of feed in and circulate around that before we're getting ignition. Whereas again, in the Freedom, I mean, that pellet fuel is basically just dropping directly on the igniter. So really quick ignition with this. Very impressed with that end of things. Just kind of coming back over here, I'm going to put this grease baffle back in place. So it just kind of kind of slides in that tube in the back. Make sure that you get it all the way back so you can hang on that grease strip, kind of like that. So it's at a bit of an angle there, as you can see. And then one of the cool things with the Traeger is that it includes this cast iron griddle piece. So if I wanted to, do some pancakes or something, this guy pops right in there like that. So that griddle is a nice accessory. They do include that with the Ranger right there. I'm gonna pop that out, and we'll get the cooking grate put back in there. But I think one of my biggest things that I've noticed between these two grills, and I'll go ahead and I'll fire them up here in a second, is the precision of the temperature. So again, the idea of these PID controllers is that no matter what the weather is outside, whether it's a 20-degree day or whether it's a 90-degree day in summer, that it's always monitoring kind of the pellet fuel and the combustion fan, right? And so if I set it to 300 degrees, it's going to stay within that 300-degree mark. It just gives you accuracy behind your cook, times that you're going to be cooking, things like that. And again, the biggest thing that I've noticed with the Ranger and the Freedom is the difference in how it holds temperature. So Freedom right here, and again, we'll kick it up in a second, but initially start up, like I said, maybe 3.5 minutes or so. And then from there, I've noticed that sometimes it overshoots a little bit, like if it's just set to 165, like it'll overshoot a little bit and it backs down. And it really, from there, like when I set it to 250, 350, 450, whatever, it maintains that temperature within a degree or two. Now, granted, I'm in a climate right now where it's like 50 to 80 degrees, depending on the day at this particular time. But the precision of that controller, like this particular control board and the technology that's in there, along with how they mounted this probe right here and the location of that, it's one of the most accurate that I have seen. And I've worked with many other Traegers, and I've had some GMG grills, stuff like that, but this controller right here with that, I'm telling you that it's been able to keep it within 1 to 2 degrees, no matter where I have it set, when she's running. So that's probably my favorite feature about it. Again, with the Ranger, I think I think one of the biggest things that I noticed was the variance in temp, you know, especially at low settings. If I set this to 165, I could never actually get it to hold 165. It would be 225, or all of a sudden it would drop down to like 150, you know, and for somebody that's been barbecuing for a long time, like the ability to maintain consistent temperature, especially if I'm doing like a, you know, like a little mini brisket on here, you can definitely fit close to a full rack of ribs on this guy, definitely a full rack on this guy. But you know, you really want to build that bark, and that bark is built through those lower smoke temperatures and consistency with that. And so that was one of the difficult things that I ran into with every session that I cooked. Was the controller right here and the readout, and again we'll kick it on in a second, but how that worked and how that was not able to contain or keep consistent any temperature. I mean, it varied between anywhere from 10 degrees to as much as 85 degrees. I did some temperature tests inside, because again, this fire pot is located, you know, like a little bit over here, where this guy is a little bit more center. So overall, I would say that this Ranger right here is the hottest right at the front, and then hottest right at the back. So I would say hottest, least hot right here in the center and over to the right side. And again, kind of a hot spot there. So as I'm cooking burgers and hot dogs, brats, whatever, I'm just kind of rotating them as I feel that they need to. Center burn pot location, I noticed less of a variance with this guy as far as my temperature from, you know, over here to over here. This one is a little bit hotter in the center, obviously a little cooler in the far corners, but overall pretty decent heat distribution with that two-piece tray. And I'm just gonna pop that right back in there like that. Just kind of goes up there on that little hook. It's in place. Again, kind of angles down, as you can see here, so grease strips out right there. Pop in that grate. And we'll put the warming rack back on. So it's just like has a side there, and you can drop that down. I like that you can kind of put it anywhere. You don't have to use it, obviously, but I don't know. I find that I can get a couple extra patties on there. I can get a handful of extra dogs on there. And personally, I really like it for warming buns and, you know, if I got a little tin of beans, stuff like that. Again, with the peaked lid, I mean, I can have like a little kettle sitting on top of this, and I have enough space right here because it's taller. So, you know, Traeger is going to be a little bit more, you know, compact size-wise. You basically lock the lid, and then you use the handle right here to basically carry it around. Whereas this, again, is going to be, you know, a little bit taller, but you have a side handle here, side handle here. I'd say this guy's about 40 pounds. It's something I can carry around. It's also nice, like if I got a buddy, I can have them grab one side, I grab one side. Traeger here weighs a little bit more, maybe 10, 15 pounds or something more. And again, I just lock the lid and I carry it right there with that. So anyway, with that said, let me go ahead and fire these up just so you can kind of see the control board and the startup sequence. So this is the Traeger when you have it plugged in. And the powers to it, it's just going to kind of give you a reading like that on the board. Once I press the center button, it'll kind of blink that initial 165, and then I'm just going to hit ignite. From there, it goes up into startup sequence. And I'm going to put this bucket on the back again. And that just kind of hangs. And with the Freedom, get to the side, this control board is a little bit more reflective, but we push the center button in right there, and then from there I can kind of set my temperature up top. So this guy has a range of 165 to 500, and then the Traeger is going to be, and we'll just set it, let me just set it at like 300 for right now. Yeah, let me just set it like 300 for right now. Traeger over here is 165 to 450. So that's going to be your range on that control board. Again, kind of basic, up or down. When you double press this center button, then you can get a reading on the meat probe. So this guy includes this meat probe right here, put into your food on the grill. And you can either download the app and see the temperature on there. Otherwise, when you double press the center button right here, you're going to be able to see what the food probe temperature is on the screen. Freedom right here has two different probes. So I can run both of them at once, which, you know, if I'm grilling you know, different things that need to be at different temperatures before they're done. Nice to have 2 probes right there. The other day I was grilling a chicken, and I had some burgers on there as well. And anyway, worked out really well for me. One of the features here is we do have like a timer mode, so we can set a timer on here. Basically, it runs at your set temp, and then once that timer is up, it just drops it to like a 165 and keep things warm. Traeger right here also has like this keep warm mode, so same kind of thing. It's going to drop it down to a very low temperature and just kind of keep it warm until you're ready to go grab your food. So kind of a cool feature. You know, sometimes we can get caught up with other things and forget about it. You know, basic Fahrenheit, Celsius right here. And then one of the other things, and I'm just going to go to it real quick on this circuit board, but when we go all the way up to 500, right after 5, we can hit it one more time, and we got a sear mode. So with sear mode, they say in the manual, you got to have the lid open, got to make sure you got to have that that grease baffle, you got to have that open as well. But I did use that on some steaks, and it was pretty awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that, and I'm going to knock it back down to 500. So this just has a dial control on it. I find that it's really nice, very easy. Both the probes, and again, I know this is reflective here and stuff, but both of these probes right here kind of read on the screen, so I don't have to push anything to see what the temperature is of the meat on the probes. So I think that's pretty cool. And I do believe that there is a timer mode that's on here as well. I was trying to play with it, I just couldn't quite get it, and I think it's associated with the app. So you have to have the app hooked up, and you can kind of set an internal timer. You know, if that's something that you want to do. But these boys are starting up right now. And once I got a good fire in each of them, I'll go ahead and kick the camera back on. All right, so we're still in the ignition sequence here. Just took a quick pause. But as it's starting up, it kind of has like these little fins on the back right here, which are going to pump out that smoke. So again, that little igniter inside there is kind of getting red hot, cherry hot. And then there's a combustion fan that's blowing some air on there that helps the initial ignition. And then Traeger right here, as this starts to fire up, same thing. You have some vents along the back right here, vents on the side, so you'll see some smoke kind of coming out of there. Again, initial smoke tests for me on this, and I'm a guy that likes to do a lot of long cooks, long smokes. Again, just because this is holding temperature consistently, I find a better smoke, a thicker smoke. You know, generally it's giving me a kind of a moderate to heavy. Sometimes it's light. Traeger, again, it's varying a bit on those temperatures on that lowest 165 setting. So, you know, sometimes I'm getting a pretty decent smoke, and other times it's light to, you know, to almost nothing. So, but yeah, still in ignition here. Freedom looks like it's just about fired up. Traeger, I'm starting to see some smoke come out of it right there. So again, Freedom's just a little bit quicker with the ignition based on where that igniter is. But yeah, both light up pretty quick. Not bad. So anyway, I'll cut it from here, and then we'll do just one more little segment once we have ignition on both of them, and kind of look at the fire inside there a little bit. All right, so Freedom is lit. We can see our temperature climbing here. Again, I just have it set to 280 right now, just to build a decent fire in there. Traeger right here is in the ignition process, so she's almost there. Right now, I just have the Freedom set to 165, but from here I can change it. So as I just hit that top button, or you can hold it down, and it'll kind of crank up in 5-degree increments like this. So again, I crank this thing all the way up to 450. Come on. There we go, 450. So once we have ignition, I can basically go ahead and set my temp wherever I want. For right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and knock this down to kind of where I have that Freedom at, just like right around that 280, 300 mark. Yeah, something like that. So it'll blink for a minute. And then basically it's going to climb in temperature until it hits that mark. To shut the Traeger down, you basically hold down the center button. Off will start blinking for a little bit, and then it goes into like a timer sequence where it kind of shuts down. With the the freedom right here to shut it down, I just I push in that center button, and the whole screen just kind of shuts off at that point, and then the fan in the back right here will continue to run for a little bit longer. So the Traeger runs for 5 minutes when I shut it off. Freedom on average has been running for right around like 7 or 8 minutes or so when I shut it off, so that fan just kind of again cools everything down that's inside of there. But we are climbing temp now, so we're at 105 on there. We're at 146, 150 on this guy. So again, I just think that Freedom's getting up the temperature quicker. I can throw my food on quicker. And then again, once I have it set, whether I'm running on smoke or whether I'm running 500, just the design within the controller, the technology within that, and the way that they have that PID probe inside, to me it's just superior at holding temperature exactly where I want it. So, but now that we got a fire in there, this is what it looks like with that two-piece baffle opened up in there. So as you can see, I mean, that flame comes right through. I love a good char on my steaks and things. So again, we can close that, and then we have complete indirect cooking. But I like that feature. It's cool to be able to get that direct flame like you'd get from a charcoal or a gas grill. So that's sweet. And we'll take a look at the Traeger real quick. So this is always going to be indirect, whether I have the grate in there or whether I have the griddle in there. That's always going to be indirect. But she's cranking. You can hear, sounds like a little turbo jet engine in there. Nope, that heat's coming off. So anytime we open the lid, it obviously takes some time to bring it back up the temperature. I do find that the Freedom right here doesn't lose as much and gets back up to temperature a bit quicker than the Traeger. So we're still sitting at 195 here. We're about 160 right now on there on our march to a 280 cook. Yeah. And with this two-piece baffle in here that we have, again, I think before the cook, you should decide whether you want that open or closed. If I'm going to move it while it's cooking, you just want to have some fireproof gloves on and a little tool to be able to close that. Like I showed you earlier on, it's pretty easy to slide that open or closed. But anyway, it's always good to make the decision before you fire it up, unless you got the right tools. So, but fire's slowing down a little bit now. We're at 221 and 223. Yeah. But yeah, good heat coming off. Like I said, notice the front edge. Definitely getting more heat right there. Tested with like a temp gun and just did some food tests. Less in the center, interestingly enough, and again a little bit more heat in the back. So, but pretty easy to rotate food around. And I think with any of these kind of smaller grills, tabletop grills, you want to make sure that they're on a level cooking surface. Number one, that's super important. And number two, you're going to notice some variances around that grate. So you just kind of move around your food. And again, it's nice to have these meat probes right here so that we can be able to quickly pop that in where we got a roast, steak, whatever it is. And kind of know where that temperature is at on it. So I like that. We're at 245. This guy now on our march to 280. And I opened the hood on this one, so we've dropped a little bit to 185. But yeah, doing nice. Got some good heat coming off of here. Hopper feels really well protected over here on the side, just the metal and the materials. So I've had no issues with smoke coming back in the hopper as I've had with some other grills, stuff like that. I also like how the hopper has a little latch on it, so we're shutting off any oxygen supply that can come in here. So I like the little latch that's on there as well. I think that's pretty cool. I'll go ahead and close that up. We're at 267. I know I keep opening the lids on these things, which is slowing it down, but we're at 220 on there. 223 now. So yeah, but I think these are pretty good. Again, I've cooked some dishes on both of them half a dozen times, so At the end of the day, both of them are cranking out some decent food. But as a grilling enthusiast myself, one of the most important things to me is temperature control and being able to maintain a temperature. Now, sometimes in my climate it can get pretty cold, and I like to grill year-round. And sometimes it can get pretty hot. So anyway, it's nice to be able to have something where it's set it and forget it. You set your temperature. You know that no matter what the temperature is outside, what's on there, it's going to be able to maintain that. So pretty slick. And we've almost hit our mark, 278. And this guy, 260 right now. Again, that's not a good test because I'm opening the grill lids and that kind of thing. But generally speaking, on all of my testing so far, Freedom is ignited quicker, got up to temperature a little bit quicker, holds temperature a little bit better when I open and close the lid. One of the other things I've noticed about the Freedom, the other day I was running it just at a low 165, and I happened to leave the lid completely open for a period of probably 10-15 minutes, and I noticed that the control board was still maintaining that 165 even with the lid open. So I thought that was pretty cool. We're at 278, 279. This guy right here is reading 282. So hit temperature, this overshot it by 2 degrees right now. Traeger right now just hit temp. Let's see what both of these guys do here just over the next minute or so. So yeah, Traeger is 282 now. Still sitting at 282 on the Freedom. Just say that I can read the numbers a little bit more on here than I hear. It's just it seems like a fairly reflective screen right there on the Freedom. But anyway, you can see it here. So holding 282. We're at 286 now on the Traeger. So this is overshot by 6 degrees so far. .88. This is now down 1 degree, so we're at 281. So just showing you a little bit of an example. Again, sometimes I've found that it overshoots 10 degrees, and other times I have found that it overshot close to 85. But eventually kind of backs itself down. But I could never find a point where I set it at, say, 250, and it was able to hit and maintain it. It just always had fluctuations under or over. So we're at 289. Still at 281 here on the Freedom. Still getting a nice little smoke, at this 280 temp. I do a lot of different things at 280 to 325, like that lower temperature a lot of times, low and slow, depending on what I'm cooking. But other times I like to crank it up. I like to get that sear. Did some zucchinis the other night, some olive oil and a little cayenne, salt, pepper, garlic on there, and yeah, I got it nice and hot. Got a really nice sear on those. That was nice. Yeah, so 289, 281. So yeah, that's where we're at. But again, at the end of the day, we got good food coming off of both of them. Freedom a little less expensive than Traeger. Again, a couple different features on them, but just wanted to do a general comparison video between the two. Just kind of go over my experiences with both of these grills, and yeah, be able to share that with you. Anyway, thanks for watching.